In the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Please be seated. Today is Eye Black Sunday. This is the day where the gospel lesson contains one of my favorite verses in the good news of Jesus Christ. Not John 3:16, as we often see written in the eye black of ball players and the stadium signs. But no, today we hear that familiar passage, well, maybe not so familiar passage, John 10:16. I'll get to that in just a moment. I bet what you remember about today's gospel reading is the familiar part where Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. I am the good shepherd that lays down his life for the sheep. And then we remember and get a little bit distracted by the part that talks about the hired hand and the wolf that comes in and grabs and scatters the sheep. And while all of that is very important in the overall arc of the good news story told by John, as we think of it in relation to where we currently find it and find ourselves in the liturgical calendar, we're on the fourth Sunday of Easter. So I invite us to look at this passage through that lens. This lens of time when we're trying to understand what it means for Jesus to be resurrected, what it means to live a resurrected life. Now, verses 14 and 15, there's no numbers in the bulletin, so you can't jump ahead and try to figure out what 10:16 is. I'll get there, I promise. Verses 14 and 15 give us a good start. It says, I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and they know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father. Now, for those who have been in the Gospel of John Sunday school class, you've heard me say over and over again how John's Gospel delineates the Trinity in a particular way that the other Gospels don't do. And he's very clear about using Father, Son, and the Advocate, the Holy Spirit, in very specific ways. He's introducing the three-in-one nature of God, which is a new concept and one that wouldn't be adopted by all people, but must be adopted by those who follow Jesus. And so this three-in-one nature of God was a new understanding of how God can be. And so when the text says that just as the Father knows me, I know the Father, and so too, Jesus knows those who belong to him. And then comes the eye black verse. I have other sheep that do not belong to this fold. I must bring them also, and they will listen to my voice, so there will be one flock, one shepherd. I believe that in light of the resurrected Christ and in light of the placement of this text in our Easter liturgy is it makes room for other voices that are able to lead people to God. Jesus is the voice that leads me to God. I understand Jesus as the voice of the Good Shepherd that I follow. Yet I contend that the reason Jesus is my guy, in many ways, is the randomness, if you believe in randomness, of geography, of time, and the circumstances of my birth. I was born in a time and place where Christianity is prevalent. Had I been born in India, the likelihood that the voice that I heard leading me to God was Jesus' voice is much less likely. Had I been born in Afghanistan, the likelihood that the voice that I heard that led me to God was most likely not Jesus' voice. And so I believe in this passage that I have other sheep that do not belong to this fold, and I must bring them also, so that there will be one flock, one shepherd. Makes room for these other shepherds to lead others to God. And that God's dream is that all of the sheep who hear different shepherd voices can become harmoniously one flock, connecting with God in their unique but no less powerful ways. In my third year at Candler, I took a class on world religions. And one of the assignments was that we were to go to different places of worship and experience different belief systems. So I went to a mosque, and I went to a synagogue, and I went to a Hindu temple. And the evening that I went to the Hindu temple, they were celebrating the birthday of Ganesha, the plump elephant deity. Very colorful, very ornate, one of the most popular deities in Hinduism. And the experience was amazing. It was sensory overload. Now, first off, let me be clear. When I walked into this space in my usual, my usual street clothes, dressed much like any of y'all are today, I did not look like I belonged there. It was easy to spot that this wasn't my normal place of worship, as they were dressed in their cultural attire. And so as I sat there, I was watching this fire with ghee being thrown on it to have it burst up, these aromas coming out from every side, the smoke, a little burny on your eyes, but not too bad. And then there was this point in what I'll call the liturgy, because I think it's all liturgy, that's my word, when there was a time of offering to the deity. And it wasn't exactly pull out the envelope and write the check and put it in, and it wasn't that, but it was putting a coin, right, or some offering for the deity. And of course, people there knew I had no idea what was going on. And a woman came over to me and handed me a penny so that I had an offering that I could give to the deity. This gesture of acceptance and inclusion and allowing me to participate fully in the blessing of the deity of Ganesha was a powerful moment. And I think it speaks to this invitation that I feel and I hear when I read John 10:16. That's why John 10:16 is my eye black. You may have your own. You may have your own favorite passage. But I like the message in the Easter season that we are to embrace all the voices, not simply tolerate, let me be clear, but embrace, as I was embraced by this Hindu community, and as we are called to be as those who hear the voice of our shepherd, who invites us to include all people. Now, what I didn't realize until I did a little bit more research recently is that Ganesha is actually the remover of obstacles. That's his role. And it says specifically, it would have been helpful for me to know this, that he is the deity that you pray to when you're going to embark on something new. And it said, including purchasing a new car, which I did this past week. It would have been helpful, perhaps, if I would have gone and paid tribute to Ganesha in a particular way. But when we look at the basic beliefs of these major world religions that we often find ourselves in contention with instead of camaraderie with, they're really remarkably similar. They understand God as all-inclusive, limitless, and relational. They have practices that encourage us to deepen our spiritual selves. They invite us to let go of the things that bring suffering and to help those who are experiencing suffering. And they have an expectation that we strive to do the right thing based on what we are capable of and what we have proximity to. The reading from 1 John said, "Little children, let us love, not in word or speech, but in truth and action." God is greater than our hearts, and God knows everything. So let us embrace the one flock, y'all. And let us share the eye black of John 10:16 to all those in our midst. Amen.